After going through this video, you will be able to list down different types of join queries. In the previous video, we saw how we can merge multiple tables into one using join query. In this video, we will understand the different types of join queries. So, in MySQL, there are three types of join. The first is inner join, second is left join, and the third is right join. Let us understand them one by one using the placement information example. Here, we have two tables, students and companies. The students table stores a list of all the students studying in the college, and the companies table stores a list of all the companies that have come to college for hiring. The students table also stores the company underscore ID, denoting where the student has got placed. If the student is not yet placed anywhere, the company underscore ID will remain null. So, let's join these two tables using the first join query, that is inner join. This is the query we will use. Here we can see that we haven't used any where clause. And by using the select, we are fetching information from all the attributes. So, this query will fetch us this data. If we compare the data of this table with the data of the previous tables, we can see that the information corresponding to Sanjay is missing. Also, the records from the company table that corresponds to Google and Facebook are also missing. This is because we have used inner join now. With inner join, only those records which have at least one associated record in the other table are fetched. For example, Ajay is associated with Samsung, Rahul is associated with Microsoft, Mohammed is associated with Amazon, and so on. But Sanjay has no company record associated with him. That is why the record that corresponds to Sanjay is not fetched in inner join. Similarly, only those companies which have associated records in the students table are fetched. Like Samsung is associated with Ajay, Microsoft is associated with Rahul, Amazon is associated with Mohammed and Mithali, and so on. But Google and Facebook are not associated with any record in the students table, and that is why the records that correspond to them are not fetched using the inner join. Now, let us see what would be the output if we would have used left join. So in the syntax, we will replace the inner join with left join. Let's have a look at the output. Here in the table, we can see that we have the sixth extra row corresponding to the information of Sanjay. But still, the table does not include the records that correspond to Google and Facebook from the companies table. This is because the left join includes all records from the left table, irrespective of whether they have any associated record in the right table. That is why it includes the record that corresponds to Sanjay, even though there is no record associated with it in the companies table. But for the right table, left join fetches only those records which have at least one associated record in the left table. That is why it still does not include the records corresponding to Google and Facebook. Now, you might be wondering what is a left table and right table. Well, if we look at the query, the left table refers to the one which is written first, that is, before the join, and the right table refers to the one which is written next to the join. Lastly, we will use the right join. Again, in the syntax, we will replace the left join with the right join. And on running, this query will fetch this table. Have a look at the last two rows. It now includes the records that correspond to Google and Facebook from the companies table. But it does not include the record that corresponds to Sanjay from the students table. This is because the right join includes all records from the right table, irrespective of whether they have any associated record in the left table. That is why it includes the records that correspond to Google and Facebook, even though there are no records associated with them in the students table. But for the left table, right join fetches only those records which have at least one associated record in the right table. That is why it does not include the record corresponding to Sanjay from the students table. So, this is how we can use different types of join queries to fetch records from a table. Up next is an exercise that you need to complete on your own. Note that these queries are very important. So whatever is taught in the videos, you need to practice and observe the output on your own.